Hey everybody, welcome back to our Liberty House. My name is Lucas and it's the last week of summer here, and what we wanted to do was do like an after action review or an after garden season review and talk about, you know, what went really well for us this year and maybe some things we could improve on or change up. And you've seen a lot of our videos are in front of this like tomato and pepper wall, and the tomatoes were a big focus for us this year, so I really want to start there and go over like what went really well and maybe some improvements, you know, that we'll try next year, and then we'll go through the rest of the garden and kind of talk about the pros and cons of some stuff we did. Okay, so if you look back at some of our older videos when we planted these tomatoes, what we did is we transplanted them very deep, which always a plus, and we added the mycorrhiza to help with the microbial growth, and then we also heavily fertilized this whole bed, and we had a great tomato year. All these you can see are 6-8 feet tall, and we got bags and bags and bags and harvests of tomatoes. So it's definitely a plus. You know, you hear a lot of people talk about too, like not planting peppers and tomatoes together because they're both heavy feeders. Well, this was like the best sun spot for us in the garden to grow both peppers and tomatoes, so we did it anyways. But you just have to know that, you have to heavy feed before you plant and then throughout the season. And we've done some summer fertilizing videos that you can check out in our channel, and kind of like what we used and when we did it. And then we've talked a lot about trellising and pruning, and that was a total plus this year. If you see in here, I single leadered them until they got about 2 feet tall, and then I let them split. I let one of the suckers split, and I let these get all the way to the top before we let them bush out and produce more fruit. This is probably one of the best tomato harvests we've had, and so definitely a sustain and keep doing is like single or double leadering your tomatoes until they get tall enough, and then let them bush out, and you'll get really good healthy fruits rather than like a lot of like small immature fruits. And so these are all San Marzanos except for the cherry, and from San Diego Seed Company, and we really liked the San Marzano, so we'll probably replant those again next year. These Hungarian wax peppers have been super prolific, probably like 6-8 harvests at least, like this big, and everything now in late summer is just really pumping out. So we definitely like super dense planted this whole area, and it hasn't seemed to be a problem. These Merlot peppers, even though they're looking pretty good right now, I probably wouldn't plant them again. They just didn't produce all that many peppers, and then when they did, they were like super susceptible to getting sunburnt, and just we didn't get too many to fully mature before something happened. So I'll probably go to more like a snacking pepper sized bell next year. If you remember, we had garlic over here. Definitely going to do the elephant garlic again. We'll clip in kind of some pictures and videos of like how big they got. They were very easy to take care of, so we'll definitely replant elephant garlic this year, just in a different part of the garden to kind of cycle things. So let's move down towards the other parts of the garden and talk about some of that stuff. All right, so another trellising thing that we'll continue to do is like even just doing a mini Florida weave. So this is 2 of our green zebras, also from San Diego Seed Company. Would highly recommend this seed. It was great, tasted great, produced great, stayed healthy throughout the year. And we did that 2 plants with a little mini Florida weave here. Instead of using cages or just single stakes, just weaved it. And this one was obviously like super unruly because it's the end of summer and we all get lazy, and I didn't keep pruning it. But when we were pruning it very well, the Florida weave was great, and with this variety especially. So that's a pro.
And it's delicious.
Yeah, the tomato is one of the best ones we've ever grown. As far as flavor, they get about like that big and just super sweet. Another thing I wanted to talk about we did this year was straw mulch, which like a whole brick of this from the tractor store was like $14, came like super compressed. We covered our whole garden with it and my parents' whole garden with it. And I was really worried about seeds, and we had no issues with like weed seeds in there. Like very occasional like little straw seeds would come up, but you could just pull them out. Like if you look right here, like this is what you know, they just come right out. This is like all that grew. It's just some straw. So I definitely would use like this straw mulch again. We noticed our water retention was way up. We were able to water less this year, and just our other types of weeds were way down this year too. Large carpenter bee just did the drive by. Another thing we really focused on this year was intermixing annual flowers into our vegetable beds, where last year we were like, this is a flower bed, this is a vegetable bed, and we just decided to kind of mix it all in together, and we noticed really great pollination rates. Two, it's just pretty to have flowers, in the garden. These giant zinnias from Floret Farms are huge and have been just bloom after bloom after bloom after bloom, especially when we do fertilize these beds. These have been great. We've got some other flowers that we've mixed in, like this echinacea, and we've got some other small zinnias in there, and some floss flowers and such back here, and would really recommend that. And that's definitely something we'll do going forward, is mixing in flowers into the vegetable beds. And then let's see, the arch trellis, really wanted to fill this thing in this year. We didn't quite get there, but these butternut squash, I can't remember the seed name, we just got them from Green Acres. These butternut squash seeds have been great. This is the second year we've grown them, especially on this trellis, because they get about this size or this size, which is perfect for the two of us. And we got a harvest really early, and then it kind of slowed down through the heat of the summer, and then in the last month they've kind of recharged, and we've got probably another 3 ready to almost harvest, and 1, 2, like even more growing. So these butternut squash are perfect for this application, growing vertically like this. Negative, you can't see them because they're gone, is cucumbers. For whatever reason, here in Sacramento, we have not yet been able to find a cucumber variety that grows well in our heat and like the dry summers. Maybe it's our soil, maybe it's something we're doing, but if you guys have a good cucumber variety that you grow in like zone 9, let us know. Leave it in the comments, and we'll give it a try next year. We're even looking at maybe doing some like the Persian or Armenian cucumbers up a trellis like this. So that's something we're still struggling with, but we'll get there. All right, some of the last things I want to talk about that we need to do better at is like disease prevention. And one of the tomatoes we grew in one of our tree boxes over there was an heirloom Berkeley tie-dye. And as you know, like heirloom varieties aren't usually as disease resistant. They're not bred to be disease resistant because they're heirloom varieties. So we did a video about that as well. Like we're talking about cleaning our pruning shears. So what happened is the Berkeley tie-dye got a little black spot fungal disease, and I was pruning, with these pruners right here, and I didn't clean them or switch pruners before I came over and pruned this wall. And you can see we got some fungal disease that we're able to control with neem oil, which was new to us this year as well. So you can definitely fix it, but you don't have to fix your fungal diseases or your diseases if you practice good garden hygiene. So that's something that we need to get better at to do in the years going forward. But you can also try to plant disease-resistant varieties, and that'll help you get ahead of the game. If you don't necessarily want to grow some weird, funky, cool old heirloom, you can go for disease prevention through breeding. I think that's really it for like our good garden review from our summer garden season. And I referenced a whole bunch of videos that we did from this past year. I'd really like you guys to go check them out. If you have questions, you can leave comments. You can search through our channel and kind of see about our trellising, our pruning, our fertilizing, and even our seed starting. And that was something that was really good for us this year, is we had like a really successful winter seed starting, and we hit the timing just right and got a super long growing season out of like all of our peppers and tomatoes. So check out our channel. Subscribe, let us know what you guys think, and catch us next week for another video. Thanks. don't know if it'll get it out. Does that look like root rot nematodes?